I want to give you the chance. Tell that story. For those that don't know Palazzani, introduce us to that brand and sort of what it means here in the U.S. market.
So in 1868, the family started in a small town in Brescia, Italy. It began manufacturing bridge components, wooden packing crates, and carriages. And then in 1905, the family became the first manufacturer of taps and continues to this day to be very proactive in researching new and innovative solutions for plumbing fixtures for more than 30 countries.
Welcome into the Independent Thinking Podcast. This is your host, Rob Stott. Got a really unique interview on tap this week on our Independent Thinking Podcast, and it's with Manny Majano, VP of Sales at Palazzani USA. If you're familiar with the brand, it's a luxury high-end kitchen and bath fixtures company, very well-known Italian brand, and making moves in the U.S. market here and doing things to get their product into the States and into high-end consumers' homes and the faucets and knobs and the like. But the real interesting thing about this conversation with Manny is about Manny. We talked to a guy who has an independent retail background and family. Previously ran out west a store that was a furniture and fixture store, and it has experience in this space that's really relatable for a lot of the listeners to this podcast and members of Nationwide Marketing Group. So awesome opportunity to be able to talk about a brand and how Manny helping bring this brand into the U.S. and get it in independent retailer stores. How from his experience and his background, he can talk about it and help retailers that are interested in getting into this space, this hardware space, give them the insights needed to, leverage the brand in the right way and talk about this different segment, and if it makes sense to add to your store, all those types of questions. And that's what we dive into with Manny and have a lot of fun doing so. So let's just go ahead and get into it. This is Manny Majano, VP of Sales for Palazzani USA here on the Independent Thinking Podcast. All right, we are back on the Independent Thinking Podcast and diving into the world of kitchen and bath and hardware, high-end luxury hardware today, and excited to do so with Manny Majano, VP of Sales and Brand Development for Palazzani, the USA arm of Palazzani. Manny, appreciate you taking the time and calling in and chatting with us today.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's good. It's good to be here with you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And we're excited to dive into this and also talk to you and introduce our dealers to a brand, a name they probably know, and we'll dive into that a little bit here in a minute. But I want to give you a chance first to just introduce yourself. Tell us about who Manny is, your background, and your path to Palazzani.
well, since I grew up in the retail environment, in the community, selling appliances and decorative plumbing fixtures, and cabinetry, um, I was part of our family business for more than 20 years, and I started to veer off and go into another venture, and I mistakenly ran into Marco Palazzani at a kitchen and bath show. And after that introduction, I ended up becoming his sales rep for the US market.
No, that's great. I love that you say mistakenly, and I imagine we before we hopped on, we talked about your last name, and I'm sure I could ask you how he pronounced it, and is it how I said it at the top of the show? Is that right?
Yes, you're right. That's true. That's the truth of the matter.
No, that's awesome. So talk about what it's been like, working with him, because I know, obviously a family, and we'll dive into the brand here in a second, but a family and brand that has a steep Italian history, and has made its mark in this space. But talk about what it's been like to work with that family and this brand.
Well, when you work with a family like Palazzani, there is a variety of categories and industries that they're part of in Italy. They're a family of entrepreneurship. They have their own foundry. They have cousins that own earth moving equipment. They were engineers that um, um, that produced machinery for the plumbing industry. And today, I mean, they're proud to have another family member to work closely with Ferrari, Carlo Palazzani, that is in their design team for Ferrari cars. So it's it's really fun to be with a family like that.
Yeah, it's a powerhouse kind of family over there in Italy, and neat to see, the how the brand and specifically as it relates to our space and the kitchen and bath world, kind of make its way over here. And like I said, it's a name that is probably recognized, for those in this kitchen and bath space, and a very high end, a luxury brand of finishes and hardware. And but I want to give you the chance. Tell that story. For those that don't know Palazzani, introduce us to that brand and sort of what it means here in the U.S. market.
Well, I'll start off with the story with Palazzani. So in 1868, the family Palazzani business started in a small town in Brescia, Italy. It began manufacturing bridge components, wooden packing crates, and carriages. They did this for the Italian government as well. And
Wow.
then during World War One, the family foundry started to produce brass and bronze parts. And then in 1905, the family became the first manufacturer of taps in northern Italy in Brescia and continues to this day to be very proactive in researching new and innovative solutions for plumbing fixtures for more than 30 countries.
Wow.
And what we can say today, Palazzani is a global brand. And without compromising the quality of material, design, and engineering and production, Palazzani is importing Italian decorative plumbing fixtures at an affordable price in the US market. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
The artisan Palazzani, they will have a variety of kitchen and bath design products made in brass and PVD finishes in a variety of colors.
No, that's awesome. And what are I mean, so when we say finishes, for those that the first thing that obviously comes to mind is faucets. Is there other, areas of the kitchen and bath space that they're involved in that if someone comes to Palazzani or browses the website, what type of products will they see?
Well, today you will see the faucets and shower systems. However, today on the US website, the majority of our product collections are made in chrome. However, uh, Palazzani has invested millions of dollars in new machinery to produce PVD finishes. And PVD is a physical vapor deposition coating. It's also known as a thin film coating. Um, and that is a process in which solid materials vaporize in a vacuum and deposited onto the surface of a part. This and that will provide a stronger and harder finishes for a variety of colors in a beautiful fashion. Now, this is exciting for the end consumer because now we'll have a variety of finishes that will match the variety of colors in tile and in sanitary ware in the market today, something that designers want to use uh, in their presentation and product collections when they're working with their clients.
Gotcha. Now, when you say that, a variety of colors, like what when I think of sort of and I don't want to say standard because it's not standard when you're talking at this level, but the chromes and like golds and nickels, that sort of thing. Are there what other does it get sort of exotic, I guess, in terms of the color opportunities that exist because of this?
Yeah, so we will be offering a color collection that's not used today, and that is matte copper.
Okay.
So matte copper is a beautiful finish, and we will have that in our new design collection. Um, Matte copper is being requested in a very high-end design community, especially in the hospitality realm. You might see in luxury hotels some of these new colors, such as matte copper. Will also have another color similar to gunmetal. We call it the brush dark nickel, where you will see in an artisan finish, where it seems like it's finished with brush strokes. So
Right.
there will be some new design elements within our finishes.
Gotcha. Now, hearing you talk about the technology, I know that that's obviously an exciting thing. I'm wondering for you specifically, like when you think of this brand and sort of the direction it's heading and products that are coming, like what gets you excited about Palazzani and being able to talk about this in front of the kitchen and bath community.
Um, you know, in today's standards, people in the industry, in the professional world, and wholesalers and governmental agencies, they're looking to protect the end consumer. So Palazzani, our brass is lead free, and we'll have the a very high quality chrome plating that will not, um, I should say, will not increase the possibilities of cancer. So there are finishes that um, that uh, uh, that the government today states or provides warnings on product
Wow.
that if you're around it, you could maybe uh, catch cancer to a certain level. I mean, you'll see this in little warnings on
Right.
cups, or you go into certain coffee shops, you'll see these warning signs. So the chrome plating that Palazzani has with its new production, we will be at the highest level, so that we would not have these type of warnings.
No, I gotcha. That's obviously important and I think unique sort of story to be able to tell as well. And I say unique stories, and I want to take a second just to dive into your own for a minute because I think you mentioned it, at the top in terms of your background and kind of path into this, and it kind of relates to another question that I want to ask about, getting to what excites you about working with our retailers, but talk about your retail background a little bit. How does that play in and sort of make you a unique piece in this, for the Palazzani brand, knowing that you have that. You come from a family that had that background in retail, and to be able to share that, when you're going to retailers and these showrooms, to talk about, how to position this product and things like that. Like, how does that play in or sort of help you develop those connections with the people that you're talking to?
Well, as a previous retailer for more than 20 years, I was engaged in the appliances, cabinets, and decorative plumbing, audio, video, and electrical industry. I really enjoyed the retail home improvement sector of our business, and our designers and our sales team made a lot of families happy with the brands that we represented and sold. However, I realized in my early 20s, we had a Home Depot built a few miles away from our showroom. And I figured it would draw new consumers from outside of our 45,000 populated city. And at that time, in my early 20s, we only sold appliances.
Right.
So I asked my dad if we could install kitchen faucets when we replaced the dishwasher and water disposer. And he said, yes, it's only a replacement item. So I found a local distributor in my area that I could buy kitchen faucets. So we took a small space, a 10 by 10 space, and I started to show faucets. And our sales team began to sell faucets when we took out a dishwasher. And so I started to see interest in this space. So I thought, well, when we built our new showroom, we're going to need um, displays for our built in appliances. We built a brand new 10,000 square foot showroom, and I was a little gun shy about getting into the cabinet business. But as I learned more about the cabinet business quite rapidly, I decided to bring in a few brands and start to display them with our appliances. And I ended up hiring designers and architects for our showroom. After a few years, our business grew 10 times more.
Wow.
It was very profitable. And I tell you, I enjoyed every bit of it.
No, that's awesome. And I gotta tell you, like that hearing that I think is so relatable for our retailers too, right? Because we're starting to see more where even just from the nationwide perspective of trying to see where these sort of congruent categories can relate to what we're doing in the home, and whether it's obviously we've got the core of appliances, furniture, and electronics, and you see the relationship with like an FEI and what the flooring opportunities, and the influx of hardware, and think like all of these are related, which means that there's just this massive opportunity to kind of expand what you're doing, and not saying that retailers settle, but you can, if you have that willingness and desire to sort of innovate your own business and expand and grow, there are ways to do it, and you kind of did it at your in your retail background of finding ways where just selling a dishwasher can turn into like basically light kitchen remodels, right? Changing faucets and things like that. So I think that experience is something that a lot of our retailers could relate to, if they're interested in getting into these related verticals and things like that. So having that background and experience to be able to share with them how to do it, I think is important.
Absolutely. I mean, your the membership of your members, they have proven for years that trust and loyalty and their commitment to the community. And definitely those type of qualities are great in the remodeling industry.
Well, I want to ask too, because I mentioned that the opportunities there. Is it an opportunity for everyone necessarily? Like, is there I guess not necessarily from the Palazzani brand perspective, but you're kind of putting back on your retail hat. Like, does it make sense for, say, every appliance dealer that sells dishwashers, to use your example of dishwashers leading to faucet sales? Like, does it make sense for all appliance dealers, or what's sort of the if a retailer's interested in exploring the space, is there a way they can decide whether it is right for them or not, or if it makes sense for them to kind of venture out into this world?
Well, for a brand perspective, I would say it's a good fit. Um, Nationwide marketing group members are great brand builders. And what I've learned is that they support national brands where they can make a decent margin.
Mhm.
Um, Definitely adding a new vertical can be a challenge when most plumbing brands do not provide a healthy margin for independent plumbing showrooms. What's interesting is that Palazzani brand, we support the brick and mortar showrooms where this particular brand will provide a decent, healthy margin of 35% to the dealer. We don't sell to the Fergusons of the world. We don't sell to built.com or any other national um, facilities of this nature.
Right.
We're here to support that brick and mortar store. So can anyone get into it? Well, not really, because if those people came to us, we would say, no, you can't sell Palazzani on your retail side. However, if a nationwide member comes to us and say, can we sell Palazzani? The answer is yes. You're part of a fabulous organization that helps and supports brands. And this is what we're looking for.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that answer. I think it kind of shows the commitment and not only the ability and expertise on the retail side for our dealers, but also the commitment of a brand like Palazzani. I think important and comforting, I'm sure, to an independent retailer listening. That it's a brand that you don't want to call it protected per se, but the idea that you're not going to be able to find this, and you're not going to get shopped on this brand for sure. So that's exciting to hear, and I think important to put emphasis around for anyone listening that's maybe interested in the space or interested in the Palazzani brand for sure. And unique too, right? Because we talk about the opportunities in this kitchen and bath design space, and if anyone that has been paying attention over the last couple of years, that home remodels and things like it was kind of off the charts, right? It's tough to compare anything to what 22 was like for a year across all verticals, but specifically I think in the home remodel world. I'm wondering, from your experience, and not asking you to cite data necessarily, but are you guys still seeing is momentum in that home remodel space? Is it still there? Like, are there opportunities? Because that could be a thing too for a dealer interested. They know that these last few years have sort of been above average years, but as people are paying more attention to their homes and spaces they're spending more time in, but I guess there could be concern that it's cooling off. Are you seeing that, or is the momentum really still there, around the remodel industry?
When you see and read the reports today in this category, the numbers are flourishing. They're growing.
Yeah.
People today, as interest rates have increased, many have decided to stay in their homes and remodel. And that's huge. Many of these folks would rather do the upgrades for themselves than someone else. And these type of folks look for quality brand products. They will go into a decorative plumbing showroom and choose what they like. They will choose a higher end brand product since they will be enjoying it themselves. So that is why Palazzani has invested millions of dollars in a PVD machinery to provide a variety of colors at a competitive price where the consumer may purchase something from Italy. And that's a wonderful thing because a lot of consumers don't always want the least expensive product coming from manufacturers that produces and uses low-end material. When it comes to plumbing fixtures, they want a strong product.
Yeah, I think your dealers could appreciate hearing that for sure. And it's exciting too to hear you talk about is the showroom, right? The in-person showroom, because I didn't plan it this way. It was actually kind of just a unique circumstance, a coincidence, really, that you and I are talking the same week that the National Kitchen and Bath Association, which I know you guys have a relationship with as well, just launched their first ever independent showroom study, which I think was, like I said, just unique timing to be able to talk to you as they're launching that, because the segment it all intersects, right? So we're talking about the same thing about kitchen and bath showrooms, and yeah, the idea, another reason why anyone listening, if they're not already in this space and dedicating some time and resources to it, might want to consider the in-person experience with showrooms is so important still to homeowners, and I think important too to note that you mentioned that momentum's continuing, as interest rates are up and consumers are looking to stay put and do those remodels, because that showroom is I don't want to call it a cash cow necessarily for dealers that are in the space, but I mean it's an important piece of the business. I mean, that NKBA, just to cite one nugget of information that they talked about this week in launching that report, consumers, first of all, they absolutely want to be going into these showrooms to be able to see and compare product, right? And look at compare brands and see what different finishes look like, whether it's of countertops and cabinets and things like that, or the hardware that they're going to install. And typically, when they go into the showroom, a homeowner might have a set budget, but when they go in, they find themselves spending like 31% more. And, the example NKBA used was like a homeowner that has a reno budget or a remodel budget of like $41,000, they'll end up spending $54,000 on that reno because they went to an in-person showroom and consulted with the dealer and their sales people and sales associates, and realize when they get in person and they see a product like a Palazzani faucet, they're willing to upgrade, more willing to upgrade and go after that product. And just a unique thing to think about sort of in the grand scheme of this business and sort of what you guys are doing and the opportunities that are out there.
Well, we're excited to be part of this. I know I'm definitely excited to be part of it.
No, that's awesome, man.
Life is not boring.
No, not at all. And I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate that too, right? The importance of, getting the consumer to come in and look at your product and see it side by side, even if they're comparing, models within the Palazzani, portfolio to be able to look at, one faucet and compare it to another, just how important that is to them to be able to do that in person.
Well, every time a client picks up a faucet, they know the weight of it represents quality. It's a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, we're excited. You talk about it in person. I'm excited to get face to face with you guys and see you in Nashville here in just a few weeks. And talk about that a little bit. I imagine I believe we've had you at previous prime times. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely been there over the last 4 years. I've
Yeah.
done a couple of shows, the ones online. Um,
Right.
there, there is so many there are so many dealers that pass by the booth and they wonder, could I get involved in this business? They wonder, can they make any money in this business? As that
Right.
particular excitement has grown with them, we as Palazzani decided to open up the other opportunity besides decorative plumbing, but to introduce the Palazzani cabinetry for the dealers.
Right.
Because dealer sells appliances, and a lot of them don't understand the possibilities of the profit and margins that they can make off cabinets. If they're displaying built-in products using their manufactured displays, those displays are not making them any money.
Right.
However, if they add kitchen cabinets with their built-in products and they could sell the kitchen cabinets to the consumer, now they're using their space a little bit more wisely. And this is where the excitement is at the nationwide show, because when we come in to show plumbing, we will start showing the cabinetry opportunity for the dealers, and many dealers are requesting this opportunity.
No, that's awesome. And excited to get you there in Nashville and have those conversations and see more dealers get into this space. So I know it's something that, I'm excited about. Clearly you are as well. And our dealers should be if they aren't already, but it sounds like certainly a number are. So Manny, I appreciate the time, man. This was fun to connect and dive into the brand a little bit, dive into your background too, because I think that's an important part of this is hearing sort of your experience and how it's something that our dealers can relate to and hear from you directly. Having done this yourself, so we appreciate you sharing that and giving us a little glimpse into the background of Manny Majano, and that's what I'm sticking with.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's exciting to be with you today, and I always enjoy myself at the nationwide trade shows and meeting fabulous business owners across this country.
Awesome. Well, look forward to seeing you, and until then, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. And thanks again to Manny. That, like I said at the top, it was a unique opportunity to talk to someone working for a manufacturer, working for a brand, but that has that independent retail background and can speak to the work that our listeners are doing on a daily basis, and sort of what they're involved in. So awesome to get that perspective and be able to tap into it and pick his brain a little. Really had a good time doing so. So appreciate him taking that time, and as always, appreciate you listening to the Independent Thinking Podcast. And we'll catch you next time.